Beckel goes in there to slag me off. Of course he does.
Calvinists are a bunch of stupid idiots. No, I don't believe that they're saved.
Tupac sampled.
It's if I'm not saved, then Romans 8:29 is false. So that's the golden
SFT.
chain of redemption. Those are that he foreknew, that he predestined, he called. Those that he called, he justified.
I love this song.
So yeah,
It's not the Tupac version.
I love this song. He's a liar. So it's his only escape route is to convince everybody else that he loves it, as though it's meaningless. What a joke.
But it does fit
You
the
can hear
Calvinist song.
You
Still, I
can
see
hear
no change.
the rabid, remonstrant, anti-Calvinist hatred coming straight out of the song. I love it.
Oh my gosh, this is
pure. You can feel the hatred.
Now I gave the gospel to a Calvinist.
It's a bit like I used to witness to Calvinists. Sorry, not Calvinists, Catholics. And now, when you point out that an error in their so-called teaching, a contradiction, and all that sort of thing, they start accusing you of being a hater. Calvinists do the same thing, and I would argue that Calvinism is essentially Roman Catholic. Augustinian, Manichaean Gnosticism, Arminianism, it's all a load of garbage. Absolute evil, parasitic garbage.
The other
He sounds like
day,
he's ready to cry in this song.
he rejected it,
Sounds like
saying
he's
go
taking a
some
shit.
way.
He's like
He
on the
called
pot
it
right
easy believism and said he wasn't.
Go on your backstabbing. Get on with your backstabbing, Beckel. You went into Dave's slagging me off, didn't you, you dirty pig? Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but I was talking to Praise at the time in a live stream, and he was in News Unit's channel. Yeah.
Saved.
He's talking to
I
himself
said,
in the
no,
mirror.
duh. You stupid Calvinist. I already knew that. These Calvinists are not saved, and that's just the way it is. Calvinists are reprobates, and some things will never change. Calvinists are not saved, and that's just the way it is. Calvinists are a bunch of stupid idiots, and I don't believe that they're saved.
Okay.
Thank you. Off.
Again, but he's making an
That
effort.
was fantastic. We're going to get Charles singing that soon.
Too bad we were elect.
I love that song. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
We need to come up with
you need to counter that.
Yeah, where's the
a counter
rebuttal?
song like a synergist. Synergists are not saved.
Yeah, I was going to think of a counter to that
Sinners,
too.
you silly sinners.
Synergists are not saved. They believe they are going to hell tonight. Synergists are going to hell. Arminians are going to hell. Arminians are not saved. Synergists are not. Okay.
When I first heard that song, the impression I got from Jack Smack was this is a guy who's just like walking around in his basement.
Oh,
and he's like near tears while he's singing this song. And that's how much he hates Calvinism.
Praise. I need Jack Smack to confirm something for me.
Well, if people do hate Calvinism, I do, but I don't hate Calvinists. I'm nauseated by Beckel and Sky Out. And in fact, most of the Calvinists that I've come across on Clubhouse also, they're equally as toxic, and there's a certain other Calvinist, a Presbyterian, Reformed, whatever, blah, blah. What utility does it serve? There's no grace in Calvinism. And,
This guy,
Praise.
his Calvinism is so
Gospel.
bad.
Yeah.
What gospel does Calvinism have? What have? What does what good news does Calvinism have? There's no good news in Calvinism. They have to persevere. It's like work salvation. I think it is. I wouldn't want to go too far with that, but I mean, yeah.
You gotta
I
love
need
the
you-
hatred,
I
though.
need
You
Jack.
Regeneration before salvation, or whatever, before faith. Yeah, a lie. It's obviously BS.
Smack to
that
confirm
dedication.
something for
Oh,
him.
man.
Ask him, or he's hearing it now, if he can reply. Does he believe that he has to persevere in free grace, otherwise you're not saved? That you have to keep holding on to free grace, otherwise you're not saved. In other words, a true believer will not abandon free grace. Is that his position?
I don't know. Maybe he'll tell
Well,
you.
ask him.
Wait, who's this?
That's kind of weird. How do you not abandon free grace? But under theology, you said the abandoned ones are saved.
I understand that, but
They
I agree
believe
with
in
I
Jesus
agree with you,
yesterday,
Skyo.
remember?
I
They
agree,
gave their
but
life to Christ yesterday.
I
As long as you
agree.
did it yesterday, the next
I-
day it doesn't matter.
Sky out.
That's
Jack
the
Smack,
message we get.
Jack Smack says that Young Don is not saved because he's no longer free grace. So I'm trying to get clarification about that. He also said praise is going to hell, but now praise is free grace.
Why? Why
So
did he
what
say
happened there? Did you play Basement's video on that
Well,
one?
Are you talking about
Praise?
wait, who's saying this
no.
about? Who's saying this about praise?
Jack Smack.
Well,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was hardcore work salvation, so he had. I'm glad he's being consistent.
So actually, the video should say you're going to hell unless you change your mind. But then that wouldn't
Right,
go
he's
with
already
what.
said that, though. I thought.
Then that wouldn't go with what the video just said. Things will never be the same. It'll never change.
Not
Jack,
really seeing your
Jack
point.
has a madness to his methodology. I'll just put it that way.
So yeah, so we must endure to the end to
In
have a
free
saving
grace.
grace and faith in Christ.
Or methodology.
In free grace, as long as you keep believing free grace, you're eternally secure. That seems to be the claim, and I want to get clarification of that because I don't know one single free grace theologian that teaches that.
Bob's coming at you.
So I want to know if
Oh,
that's
man.
unique to him.
Yeah. Bob is he's a rabid anti-Calvinist remonstrant, Kevin Thompsonite. What you gonna do about it, Bob?
Thompsonite.
Yeah,
He
that dude
really
loves him
hates
some Kevin
Calvinists.
Thompsonite, man. If he was gay, you know what? I ain't gonna make the joke. Never mind. But
Yeah, he
but
hates Calvinists.
the guy, I make fun of Bob all the time because that's exactly what he is. That's all he's about on his channel. That's why nobody goes to his channel and watches his content because all he does is snipe other people's videos and talks crap about them. But
That's
he's
all he
too
does,
much
yeah.
of a coward to get into a debate with anybody.
Right.
You know. So and hey, you guys want to see him get triggered? Watch this. Hey Bob, God's sovereignty.
Wait, you got to add another word.
Another liar. Oh, help him out, Charles.
God's sovereignty, and he loves Catholics.
Oh,
No, I don't. I don't hate them. Yeah. Take the mick, you two, you pair of pigs.
Well, he
oh,
really
wait.
doesn't.
And
Wait,
people
here's
that
another
hate
one.
the King
Here's another one.
James.
Here's another one. Hey Bob, check this out, Bob. Hey, God saved me through the NIV.
No, he really doesn't
What a pair of morons. Having a laugh at your praise.
like it when I tell him that King James was an outspoken.
I love the King James. King James is my favorite, but God did bring me to Christ.
Well, you did
through
know
the
that King
NIV.
James was an outspoken homosexual, right?
I've heard that, yeah, but
Yeah.
that's neither here or there.
If you heard him speak, did he have a lisp?
Yeah, it's the ETH at the end of each word.
Oh, that actually works, Meckle.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a parody of that? I would be afraid to do it, but that
Yeah, I know. Me too. I don't want to do. I don't want to.
yeah, I wouldn't. I would not mock the King James just in
Yeah.
case I burn in hell for doing.
Yeah,
such
exactly,
things.
exactly. It's one of those jokes.
There's your
let
free
Sky
grace
out do it. I ain't
definition.
doing it, but
So there's your free grace. All you guys hold is that condition of salvation of faith, excluding good works and perseverance, holding to only one position, eternal security. So you guys believe that good works and it is not a condition, as maintained as Arminians, says to prove, as with most Calvinists, salvation, but rather a part of discipleship based
Yeah,
on
but
receiving.
Jack Smack's
So you just
saying
believe in
that-
eternal rewards. You just believe in eternal rewards. Like you'll just lost eternal rewards in the kingdom and everything. But
Well, it's not just lost eternal rewards. I mean, I've been sitting back listening to you guys. This has been a blast of a night. So it's been a wild night. We've touched on a lot of subjects.
You've been quiet there for a minute. You okay?
Just chilling. Just
chilling.
Just
Okay.
finished eating some A&W chicken strips, and
Oh, man, this sounds good. It does.
I built up an appetite over the last. I mean, we were debating for like I think the first 3 hours straight. Praise?
Yeah.
So with Jack Smack, can you share my screen, Praise? I'd be curious to get an answer to Charles' question. I think it's a fully appropriate question, because if I wish I could find my Galatians 5 slides quickly, but one of the works of the flesh is, as a matter of fact, heresy. And so if, out of curiosity, and then I'd wonder what your view would be, Charles, if in the flesh, here's my slides on the flesh versus spirit. So notice this right here. Now the work, so Paul in Galatians 5 is talking about the battle the Christian faces every day between the flesh and the spirit. And he is encouraging believers to not only live in the spirit, right? Notice this, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. If ye live in the spirit, talking about position, let us also walk in the spirit. And so he says the works of the flesh are this, and the fruit of the spirit is this. And so if, as a believer, we walk in the spirit, what's going to be manifested in our lives? It's going to be love, joy, peace, so on and so forth. But if we walk in the flesh as a believer, what's going to be manifest? Well, up on the slide, you can see the works of the flesh: adultery, fornication, variance, emulations, wrath. Notice the last one in verse 20, heresies. And so what if a believer believes the gospel, faith alone, eternal security, but at some point in their flesh, they fall for a heresy, or even fall into some form of work salvation?
Yeah, if they deny the Trinity.
What happens then?
Yeah, what happens to the one that denies the Trinity, for example, or falls into what Jamie fell into? Except Jamie was born into that, I think.
Actually, Jamie, yeah, he was born into this world as an SDA.
yeah.
Hey, now the rumor is Ellen G. White herself delivered Jamie. Actually.
Dude, I met a blood once, and he was so wrapped up in this stuff. He was a youngster, and he was so wrapped up into it. He's like, man, I said, when did you become a blood? And he said, man, I was born into this. I was born a blood. So you never made a decision to get put down. No, my family are born blood. And the whole time I was, setting up a thing to evangelize him, because I was talking about the blood of Christ versus, the blood gang. And it was like the dude was just so locked into this because of his family and stuff. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of similarity between him and Jamie. I didn't know Jamie at the time, but I knew people like Jamie. They think that their religion or their system should be what they're born into, and that there's no escape.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
But
so Jamie's set tripping.
So I would argue that there in our flesh, as we can see here, the works of the flesh, I mean, you could hypothetically fall into, I mean, it just says heresy. So all kinds of heresies, especially in the world of YouTube. There's so many believers that are strong in the faith, strong in doctrine. But because of the world of the internet and YouTube and all this information, it's great and all, but a believer who's kind of weak in the faith and they come across some video that's just promoting heresy and they watch the video and in their flesh, they're like, oh yeah, this sounds good. And then they fall for that specific heresy, right? So yeah, I would just be curious as to what Jack Smack would say about that. But also for the panel, Sky Out, if you're still here, notice the works of the flesh versus the fruit of the spirit.
Sorry. I went to the bathroom. Sorry, I was
no bathroom breaks allowed.
I'm so sorry.
I'm fixing to have to go because I have to work in the flesh. You know, whenever I wake up.
Charles, just stay for another 15 minutes and I'll leave with you. I'm getting tired.
I want to say this about Jack Smack just said a while ago that Young Don said he never believed. We can't say that someone's going to hell because they say they never believe. You could tell a person if you don't believe the promise of eternal life, then you're going to go to hell. But we can't specify whether a person actually done that or not. We can't tell whether a person is saved or not. You know, so why make videos telling people that they're going to hell when we don't know who's going to hell yet? He had praise going to hell until recently, so he should actually say,
so what's a true Christian to you?
Unless you change your mind.
Tell me, what is a true Christian to you?
You know what's amazing? I just want to say this. I just want to give Praise some real strong credit. God bless this man. In 4 years, Praise went from Praise, you ready?
Oh no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No. I'm saying like Praise. I'm so proud of you.
Do the evolution of Praise.
Because in 4 years since I met Praise, you were oneness.
Yep.
You were hardcore work salvationist.
Yep.
You were gap theorist.
Yep.
You were annihilationism.
Yep.
Whoa.
You were, who knows what you were eschatologically. I mean, you're all over the place.
I was in a cult.
Yeah, you were serpent seed, right?
I was in a worse cult than Jamie. So if Jamie has no excuse for what he said, right?
And look what the Lord has done. To Praise.
Yeah, he's still growing. He's still synergist, but you know he's still growing.
Yeah, Becca, once he becomes a Calvinist, then he'll be fully consistent.
Yeah.
Sin on a door. Sin on
that
a door.
Synergistic heresy.
Yeah.
You don't hold to the sin on a door. You hold to the sin on a dork.
I mean, we've had some. Praise and I, we've had a lot of fun. We've had some fun battles. And so,
I'm sorry.
No, Scott, I was going to ask you out of curiosity. Maybe engage with this a little bit too, Charles, for 15 minutes. Then maybe we'll call it night. We've been going for 6 hours. Now, the works of the flesh are this. Fruit of the Spirit is this. And so Paul says over and over again, this I say then, walk in the Spirit. And if you walk in the Spirit, then by definition, you're not walking in the flesh. And so you're not going to fulfill the lust of the flesh. Unfortunately, allows the flesh to guide them.
That's what you remind me of, my boy. That's what you remind me of, my boy. Hey, SFT, so is yours.
You're using your language, then whose sin is it?
About this, you're still saved unless that person cannot.
And that means you didn't continue to the end. You didn't endure to the end. You died in carnality. You're using your language, then whose sin is it?
Why would God not regenerate me?
He allowed you to talk about bending somebody over in the shower. Why would God allow that?
Because we're all again total depravity. I'm not arguing.
God is able to restrain.
I'm not arguing. I'm totally depraved. Right?
God is able to restrain evil, but yet God didn't restrain you from saying that.
I'm Ephesians 2:1 all day. I'm dead in trespasses.
So if you choose not to bend someone over,
call me a faggot. I don't care.
If you choose not to bend someone over in the shower, did God do that or did you do that?
The bottom line is that if you have a continuous
bottom line,
and you use is wicked. I know you bald headed, and that's part of weakness too. And
you'll be there. You'll be there eventually. That's why your avatar is using that hood to cover your face.
I believe bald headed is a sin. I'm sorry.
What does that got to do with anything?
Then you will be receding. You'll be receding into bald headedness eventually. That's why you're wearing. That's why you're wearing that hood. You're gonna look like a monk later on.
No. I'm clearly saying that if you continue, you did that. If you continue in the faith, you're saved.
Yeah, you're saying. I got you. I understand.
And if a person lives a wicked life, they're still saved.
I'm curious. How far can a believer go into sin before they prove they're not saved? For example, and I know you guys were talking about it earlier, but King Solomon, he worshipped false gods, and we actually study the different gods.
He's saved. I believe Solomon is saved.
But he had 700 wives, 350 concubines.
He was a man of God.
So could God kill you?
He predestined him and chose him for those allowed sins. God can allow certain
sins. If God killed you because you said you were going to bend another Christian over,
are you still talking about that? What is wrong with you?
Because I'm showing you the inconsistency of your position.
No, I'm saying
if God killed you for making that statement, if God killed you for making that statement, if God killed you for making that statement, I believe you're totally
depraved as much as I am, as much as everybody else.
If God killed you for making that statement, would you still be saved?
Of course I would.
Even though you were not continuing?
Because prior to my death was forgiveness of sins, repentance.
Oh, so it's okay if you talk about that, then ask for forgiveness. But if you don't ask for forgiveness before you die, then you're not saved.
That's a contradiction because you're dead. How am I going to ask for forgiveness?
Well,
I'll be regenerated in heaven.
What you're saying is you're dying in a state of carnality.
Yes, we just talked about this. You're still saved unless that person cannot.
And that means you didn't continue to the end. You didn't endure to the end. You died in carnality. You didn't.
You're holding on to the position that
what's the opposite of war?
You're saying the false converts are saved. I don't believe that. I can't hear you. Go ahead.
What's the opposite of war?
Of who? War?
What's the opposite of war?
The opposite of war, peace.
Yeah. Good riddance to all of you, really.